Hey everybody, I wanted to continue the conversation on what to expect week by week in Coast Guard basic training. Today we're going to get into the first weekend. So this is Friday afternoon, you get picked up by your company commander, and that first weekend. So just to recap, so far we've just talked about forming week, that was getting in there Tuesday night, and those first few days of administrative stuff. So Friday afternoon, you go to the same room in Monroe Hall where you first checked in. You all get in, it's a big classroom, you sit down, and your company commanders, your real company commanders, not the temporaries that were babysitting you for 3 or 4 days, your company commanders that you're going to have for the next 7 weeks, come in the room. They take their oath. They stand there menacingly, staring at you all, and if you haven't questioned your choices in coming here, you probably are now, as the face of what you're about to experience is literally staring you in the face. And once they finish their oath, it's game on. The yelling begins. It's much more intense and aggressive and frankly terrifying than even when you first pulled up in the bus, because there's a sense of permanence about it. You're going to be seeing these people every day for a long time. And I remember we marched to our squad bay and had all our stuff with us, our sea bags, everything. And I remember being aggressively yelled at the entire way. The CCs were systematically going through and just talking to everybody, dressing them down. And I remember the chief, the head CC, came and talked to me and just asked me some questions about how much I really wanted to be here. Can you sound off? I yelled what I thought was the top of my lungs, and he just stood there, stared at me and said, "Not very impressive," and then walked away. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun. The first weekend was, they call it Hell Week, and that's about what it was. It certainly wasn't Hell Week Navy SEAL style, but it was pretty rough. We were getting woken up constantly in the middle of the night to fire alarms, fire, fire, fire. We're out in the middle of the field. This was mid-October, so it was really cold. Wet, dewy grass. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., wake-up calls out in the grass. Basically, that first weekend is really to weed people out, I think, just to make sure that the people that are there really want to be there, because it really is just hell without seemingly any rhyme or reason to it. Now, there is rhyme or reason to it, but you don't really see it at the time. It was just a lot of chaos. You do start doing PT. So I had mentioned in that forming week, you don't do PT. You do PT with your real CCs. Once you get picked up by your company, you have a company name, your face will be in the ground a lot. So there was a lot of push-ups, a lot of planks, a lot of yelling and chaos. Again, we did shower drills, so we would all be lined up front to back in a line, all of us fully naked, and we would go to each station. There would be a station for brushing your teeth, for getting undressed, getting in the shower, getting dried off, getting dressed, shaving, everything. There would be 2 men to 1 shower head. One person would be rinsing themselves off, the other person would be scrubbing themselves off, and then switch 30 seconds in and out. And the CCs are there the entire time yelling at us. It was very humiliating, very dehumanizing. I think that experience is just to reiterate where you are. This is the real deal. Making sure that this is where you want to be, because this is what you've just walked into. I do remember at one point a female in the class actually ran away while we were out in the middle of the parade field, and the CCs let her go, and I remember them yelling something to the effect of, "Have a nice run. You're not going to get very far, obviously, when you try to get out the front gates." So, but that happens. People drop out. And I think that's basically what that first weekend is for. We also started getting jobs assigned. We started getting our roles assigned. We started just learning a general routine, where we were staying. You get assigned your rack, get assigned your locker. You start learning a lot of the specifics about how to arrange your locker, how to fold your uniforms, how to iron uniforms properly. So in a nutshell, that's your first weekend. it extends into that first week, which I will get into in a separate video. As you go along, it certainly doesn't get particularly easier, but it starts to make more sense. You start to get better. You start to know what you're doing more, understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I think it starts to get a little bit more tolerable. But just be ready for chaos during that first weekend. But as I always say, don't let it deter you. Don't let it demoralize you. Don't question your choices or your sanity. You made that decision for a reason, and you will get through it. You will be fine. It's just 2 days. Just look at boot camp as a sequence of meals and going to sleep. And if you do that, before you know it, you'll be through it. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. Please, as always, give me any questions or comments if you have specific things you'd like to know about, either in basic training, MSTA school, or Coast Guard in general. I will talk to you all again soon. Thanks.